Hey, what's good, motivators? Jimmy V here, and today I'm going to share with all of my veterans common questions that I get for a VA home loan, and that is simply this: how does it work when it comes to qualifying with a VA loan? So before we get started, if you find that this information is of value and I earned it, would you consider showing your love by clicking like on the video? Also, consider subscribing to the channel. We really try and focus and put an emphasis on educating veterans and active duty military about our VA home loan benefit. Roger that? All right, let's get started. So today I'm gonna talk about VA qualifying for a mortgage. You guys have heard me say it before, you can be eligible for a VA home loan, but you still have to get pre-qualified. So first things first, let's talk about credit scores. And this is kind of funny because credit scores can really change from lender to lender that you speak with. And you say, well, wait a second, I thought that VA set the credit score. Well, that's not exactly true. Think of it like this. If you're lending me, Jimmy, money, you as the veteran get to put the specifics on the terms of the loan. So you might say, Jimmy, I want you to have a 660 credit score, and I want your debt to income ratio to be in line with, call it a 41%. You as the veteran, you're lending me the money, so you get to dictate the terms. Well, here's the way it works with VA loans. The lender, not the VA, is actually lending you, the veteran, the money, not the Department of Veterans Affairs. And this is something that's commonly misunderstood about VA home loans. The VA does not lend the money. All they do, veterans, is just guarantee the loan. In the event that it were to foreclose for any reason, the VA would send a check to the lender for 25% of the loan amount. The lender, the one who's lending the money, gets to set the terms in conjunction with the mortgage loan. So it's not uncommon that a veteran can speak to multiple lenders, two of them say no, and the third one say, yes, we'll originate your loan for you. So I'm gonna give you a general rule of thumb for VA qualifying, and that is simply this, that generally speaking, most lenders will require a minimum credit score of 620. Now, there might be some lenders across the nation that will go below that 620, 600, or even 580, but I expect, or I try to tell my veterans that it's always best practice to try and be in this range. Why is that? Well, because it translates to a lower monthly payment and a lower interest rate. Nobody wants to pay more interest in the loan than they have to, and it also increases the likelihood that you will qualify for the mortgage loan. You've got the credit score, you've checked that box. The next thing that you're going to have to do to qualify for a VA home loan is provide all of your documentation. W-2s, tax returns, bank statements, pay stubs, blood type, firstborn child. I'm joking about those ones, guys, but you get the picture, right? There's a lot of information that you have to provide the mortgage lender in advance to ensure that you have been properly qualified. They're going to review all of those documents to ensure that you've got the credit, that you've got the income, and that you're pre-qualified for the specific amount that allows you to go out there and put rounds down range with your VA home loan benefit. So I'm gonna get into a little bit more advanced information here for just a moment, but I do think it's important for you as you're getting ready to go out there and purchase a home and you wanna prepare yourself for qualification called VA residual income requirements. Now, this is somewhat unique to the Department of Veterans Affairs because, well, nobody else really qualifies VA, or I should say any type of mortgage loan like this. So think of residual income like this. It's basically the net amount of income that you as the veteran have left over at the end of the month, right, in order to qualify for the loan. So I'm gonna press pause on that for just a second, and I'm gonna talk about debt to income ratios. People will always ask me, Jimmy, what's the minimum, or I should say maximum, debt to income ratio required on a VA loan? Here's the reality of the situation. The VA does not have a specific debt to income ratio requirement. But what I would say to you is that the debt to income ratio, the higher it is, the greater the risk associated with the loan, and that could actually jeopardize or impact your ability to qualify. But generally speaking, mortgage lenders like for that DTI, that debt to income ratio, to be somewhere between 41 to 45%. So percentage of debt to include credit cards, auto loans, car payments, and the mortgage payment divided into your income, and that's how you can properly calculate what your approximate debt to income ratio is. Good to go? So let's just say that you're somewhere around to 45%. I'm gonna kind of go back to residual income here for just a sec. 45% debt to income ratio, the VA sets this thing up, residual income, and what they say is they look at us from a family size. So for example, my wife, my 2 children, and the veteran, myself, I would be considered a family of four, family of four. Pardon the writing here, but I think you get my point, right? Family of four. And what the VA does is they say you have to have a minimum amount of money left over at the end of the month, that net number. So that net number, if you're purchasing, this changes across the nation, but that net number can vary depending upon if you're in the East Coast, West Coast, etc. So this net number for a family of four in the West Coast, which includes Arizona, where I'm located, and by the way, this is my opportunity to say if you want to learn more about VA home loan benefits, we're actually, through my partnership, licensed to lend in all 50 states, and I would be honored to be a resource for you. Good to go? All right, so back to this, 1117. Here's what the VA does. They basically take the veteran's gross income, and then they start deducting out things like taxes, right? Two things in life that are certain, death and taxes. So you deduct out the taxes from that number. In addition to that, you're also going to deduct out the monthly liability. So you kind of see here, I'm going down the line. Now, there's also other things included in this residual income factor that you might not be aware of as a veteran. What happens is the VA says, okay, well, you're buying this 2,500 square foot home, and well, there's going to be maintenance and utilities that are done to the property, and they use a very specific calculation. It's 14 cents per square foot. So we actually deduct out the estimated maintenance and utilities. And so at the end of the day, we're left over with this net number. And as long as this net number for me is greater than 1117 a month, I would be qualified for a VA home loan by way of residual income. You guys tracking with me on that? So one other thing that I want you to be aware of is that in the event that that VA or my debt to income ratio goes up, right? Or it's above 41%, VA makes me increase this number by 20%. So in this particular instance, it would be, I'm gonna look at my math here for just a second. I wrote it down in advance because I can't do that math on the fly, but basically around $1340 a month is what I would expect to need to meet in the form of residual income to be qualified for the VA loan. And I just want to reemphasize, veterans, there's a lot more that goes into qualifying a veteran than just credit score and residual income, but these are things that have a significant impact on your ability to get approved for a VA home loan, which is exactly why I want you to know this information in advance. All right, so if you have questions about VA loans and credit scores, VA residual income, the documents needed for a VA loan, I want you to know that it's okay to reach out to me and that I'm personally here to be a resource for you. You can drop a comment down below with your question. You can shoot me an email at jimmy@valoans4vets.com. And most importantly, I want to say thank you for your service to our great country. We'll talk to you soon.